Well, I'm Eoin and I'm the climate campaigner at the Wilderness Committee. And as you can tell from my accent, I didn't grow up here, and I've travelled a long way from where I came from to talk about climate change. But I chose British Columbia to talk about climate change for one very important reason. This is the most important place in the world for people to know about and to care about and to stop climate change. And why is that? Why is it here and not anywhere else in the world? Well, our local tar sands exporter, Kinder Morgan, wants to send 150 million metric tons of carbon into the atmosphere through its local pipeline here and onto large oil tankers. We have a coal expansion by our port, and it aims to make this the biggest coal exporter in North America, and that's another 100 million tons of carbon. And just when you thought things couldn't get any better, the British Columbia government turns around and says that our economic future hangs on putting out 200 million tons of carbon in the form of liquefied natural gas.
The Salish Sea is poised to become one of the biggest regions for fossil fuel exports in the world. It's sort of ironic, there's this place with so much history and so much hope for the future, and right under our noses it could become a climate change superhighway.
Where we are right now is North Vancouver. This is my home, and these are my neighbours right behind me. It's called Neptune Terminals. It's a huge coal exporter, and it just got permission from the local port here to go twice as big with its coal exports without any involvement from ourselves, their neighbours. All of this operation is fed by 1.5 mile long coal trains, and they dump their load here to be put on tankers. Once the coal gets to the terminal here, it's scooped up using huge machinery onto ships, and those ships snake their way very slowly out into the Salish Sea. They pass around Victoria and from there out into the open ocean, most of which are bound for Asia.
As a young person in this part of the world, when I think about coal, my visions of it are almost in black and white. I almost see it as something that we used to do before we knew any better. It's becoming stigmatized around this continent. It's becoming harder and harder to mine and harder to ship. What's happening then is a lot of this US-based coal is being brought up by rail into Canada and shipped through the Salish Sea.
For people who live along this body of water, there's going to be a marked difference in the near future. There's an application to build a whole new coal exporting facility in Surrey. We also have a huge facility exporting coal in Delta called the West Shore Dock. The aim is to make this the biggest coal exporter in North America. Just south of where we're standing right now is another carbon exporter. That's the Kinder Morgan tar sands dock. There was only 80 odd tankers a year. Suddenly we're going to 400, more than one a day. It's a huge difference in traffic. These are spiritual waters for local First Nations here. The term Coast Salish means people of the Salish Sea. It's core to their cultural identity. So for me, these waters represent where we drew a line in the sand and we said, no, we have a cleaner future and our children have a cleaner future. For locals like myself, coal shipments will grow twice as big as twice as many shipments come in on trains. They're going to go on to bigger bulk carrying ships and more of them. So suddenly, what was our recreational body of water is just going to become the most trafficked carbon center in the world.
If we can stop this, we will be game changers in the fight against climate change. Climate change is going to be the challenge of our time, and we're right in a place to be a big part of that fight.
When you take a look at how much carbon is going to pass right through our greenest city in the world here, it's 100 times more than any other place with this many people. So when I hear someone say no to this and that they want a cleaner future here in British Columbia, when they say we're going to deal with climate change, for me I hear 100 voices elsewhere in the world, 100 Irish voices or 100 Chinese voices, all of whom cannot control this amount of carbon. We can stop climate change here in British Columbia if we choose to.